Faith here with your podcast Welcome Toast. Frozen foods such as ice cream, brownies, and cookies have absolutely no calories because calories are units of heat. Listen to our show in small bites or enjoy the whole thing.
I drive a beat-up car, a caravan, the color blue. Reminds me of your eyes and all the places we've been to. We're tethered to the leather, searching for a better view. It's interstellar when it's me and you. We're taking off. We're taking off. This is what I live for, baby, on my open road.
It's the Faith Middleton Food Schmooze. Glad you're with us to eat, drink, and be merry. We took the show on the road to a new destination, White Gate Farm in East Lyme, Connecticut. A little later in the show, we'll tell you all about this great place with a cooking school built in and recipes, organic vegetable centric. In a scrumptious way, there's chocolate and cream cheese icing, a fabulous looking tart. I'm with the people I love, like family, Chris Prosperi, Mark Raymond, senior producer Robin Doyon-Aiken, Alex Province, and our special guests, Pauline Lord and Kent Gertie from White Gate Farm. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey. All right.
Wow.
Isn't this amazing?
This is incredible.
So we're in East Lyme, Connecticut at this farm. It's about 100 acres. It is beyond gorgeous. So beautiful. We're so excited. We've been eating their food. We have recipes that they've given us that are posted at our site, foodschmooze.org. So I want to play a little game, and then we're going to talk about some things we've been doing recently. Let's do, when you look out, what is the lead slide? What are you seeing here? Chris, go.
Oh, I see when we walk down to the pond. As you're walking down this little hill, you see a building off to the right, and this building was the original ice house for the property. And I just envision people hundreds of years ago cutting through the ice and saving those blocks in this gorgeous old building that they've restored now. And
maybe ice fishing.
Yeah, and I just want to move
Cocktails.
in. Yeah, and I just want to move into this. And they have this little building as one of the rooms that one day you'll be able to stay in. And I just want to move in there. Wow. It's just such a beautiful view of the lake.
Me too.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Exactly. Mark, what do you see when you're walking around this farm?
Well, I want to take it just a step back. I remember pulling up and driving down this typical, Connecticut road, 2-lane with woods on both sides, and then all of a sudden the driveway, you pull in and it just opens up to this beautiful little valley. On one side you've got sheep and then chickens, wildflowers on your left, and then in front of the house there's just this beautiful garden of lavender. It's just amazing. Absolutely incredible.
Alex.
Pulling in, you see the beautiful green lawns thanks to the chickens and all that nitrogen, and then you see an unmowed meadow filled with echinacea and coneflower and Russian sage and these beautiful red papaya echinacea, and it's something out of a P. Udolph garden. It's absolutely spectacular. All the butterflies and honeybees that are on the farm, all like getting their lunch.
So this is going to be interesting because Pauline Lord, special welcome to you, owner of this farm. Thank you so much for having us. You're here all the time, and that changes what you see, I'm sure. So today, when you're looking out, what do you see?
Well, it's wonderful to see it through all of your eyes because, as you say, I see it every day. But yes, I'm in love with my lambs right now, my 9 lambs. And we have brand new chicks that were delivered yesterday by the postmistress herself. So we always have something new and kind of wacky here, and it's a lot of fun.
They were peeping in the box when you picked them up?
Absolutely.
You have a long tradition of fun at this farm, I think.
We
right?
do. Yep.
And we have Kent Gertie, who's the farm manager. Kent, having walked every square inch of these 100 acres, I bet. What do you see today?
Sometimes you forget how beautiful this farm is, but when you walk through the fields, you tend to wonder, is there a bug over there? Is it an insect over there? Do I have enough tomatoes to make it through next market? Do I have enough fennel for the kitchen to make our wonderful Vichyssoise? So I see it more from the business side, but what's really nice is when it's quiet in the evening, the mowers are off, and all you hear are the birds, and all you see are the butterflies.
Yeah.
And that's when it's truly magical, with the sun setting just behind us here, and the colors in the sky really come to light. And that's what makes White Gate Farm really special, for me.
Our senior producer, Robin Doyon-Aiken, what do you have?
Well, I was struck by the mix of old and new that's everywhere. So the first thing, maybe it's just because I'm a big Robert Frost fan, was that I just noticed all the stone walls everywhere around me, which are so beautiful. But this is a working farm, and there's a lot of technology around here too. It's just such a mix of old and new here.
I love that.
Like those old tractors from the 40s?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Next to the 65 horsepower John Deere that was purchased last year, and I love both of them equally.
I'll race you.
Oh yeah, exactly. They're great fun.
You know, I have to say that my colleague, Karen Tomasco, said, you've got to check this place out. And we were thinking, let's go on the road somewhere. And so that led us here. And if you're someone who likes to go to farms the way we do, this place even has rooms to stay in. It's so gorgeous. In a real farm way, but also this kind of natural beauty here. As glorious as really maybe any spa that I've been to in a real way. This is real gorgeous farmland.
It's like timeless, right?
Yeah, so here we are. We're in this gracious farmhouse. Can we take a step back, though, because I want to talk about our recent adventure. If you look on Facebook, you know that we did something pretty wild. We saved up our pennies because Nantucket is expensive. It's 36 miles, I think, or 32 miles off the coast of Massachusetts. So everything is expensive there. They can't help it. So we saved up our money, and we decided we would do the show for a few days from there and have
fun.
experiences.
Oh my gosh.
Wasn't it? If you look on Facebook, Faith Middleton Food Schmooze, you'll see us zipping around in
restaurant to restaurant.
In Alex and Matt's dinghy.
Yeah.
We went restaurant to
I think
restaurant.
Matt gave
We
you a
tried-
fast ride.
He gave me a very fast ride. Well, how many miles an hour was that?
I think it goes like 25 or
And that's
20
pretty fast in a
on the
dinghy.
water, yeah.
So we ate pizza, we tried Italian beer, zipped around in that dinghy to see the fog rolling
Yeah.
in. So an
Great
amazing
lady.
experience. And we're going to come back to the farm in just a second. I just wanted to tell you, if you haven't seen it, go to Faith Middleton Food Schmooze on Facebook and check that out. For this show, you can go right now to foodschmooze.org and see all of our pictures of the things we've been doing here at Whitegate Farm. You'll see how beautiful this is. We have pictures of the food. We have recipes posted at our site, foodschmooze.org. Okay, how about this idea of making granita? I can never find my ice cream maker when it comes time to make ice cream in the summer, and every recipe says, and now put it in the ice cream maker. I never can. I think, where did I put that?
And is it frozen? Is it
And if
cold
it's
enough?
filled with frozen peas in the
Yeah,
freezer in
yeah,
the bottom.
Yeah.
So how about this granita idea where,
Like a fork?
so
The
you
old
would
way.
you take a casserole dish, right, Chris?
Yeah.
You make sugar and water, so you've got a syrup. You simmer that for a little while. Take a small, maybe ceramic baking dish, and put in whatever flavor you'd like. So having been here at Whitegate Farm in East Lyme, there's lavender here.
sure.
You could,
Rosemary.
you could do a lavender lemonade in your granita before you freeze it. You could do my favorite, which is I do a watermelon puree and a little bit of lemonade. Chris, you might have an idea.
I do a rosemary one. It's kind of savory, sweet. It sounds a little weird, but it really, those two flavors just really come together.
So you've got that sugar water syrup now.
That's sweet, and then that piney kind of rosemary flavor.
So you dump in your favorite things,
Yeah.
and then into the freezer it goes. And is it every hour? I think we take a fork every hour and scrape.
And then sort of shake it back into form.
Total of 4 hours, and it's done. You have the most beautiful granita for next to nothing, and delicious. No chemicals, just beautiful, beautiful. And if this farm is almost totally organic. I think it might be. Is it fully
we are
organic?
certified organic?
100%.
100% organic.
Okay, so there, you've perfected my recipe by a mile. It's like,
And I think it looks better, doesn't it? It's more rustic when you do it with a fork than when you do it with an ice cream maker, because, I don't know, it comes out so uniform in the ice cream maker, and when you do it with a fork, you got big pieces and small pieces and all kinds of different shapes.
You know what I would do for Mexican night? I would use Mexican Coca-Cola.
Oh, sure.
Maybe add a little cherry.
Yeah. So instead of sugar water, right?
Yeah.
Just use the Mexican Coke right
Or
out
if
of
you
the
have
bottle.
a flat bottle of soda in the refrigerator. Don't throw it away. Granita.
What about
So
adding a
much
little
for the
basil to that?
organic.
Balancing.
No.
Yeah,
A little basil. A little basil.
It's amazing how savory herbs work great in granita. Like basil,
Rosemary.
thyme. Yeah, they all do. It changes
nice
what they
Thai
are.
basil.
And balance it with
Yes.
lemon, maybe.
What do they say?
Lemon and lavender.
Preservatives help people live longer. I think there's something like that.
Better living
Oops.
through chemistry.
That's a mortal sin where I'm sitting right now. We wanted to tell you about a book that has come out that we consider armchair travel. I just finished reading it and had a really great time. It's called Cooking for Picasso by Camille Aubray, who spends half of her time in Connecticut and the other half in the south of France, which is a pretty good life. So this is a book that is inspired by a true incident. Apparently in the spring of 1936, Pablo Picasso couldn't paint. He was in this turbulent love affair. So he secretly rented this villa in the south of France and left Paris in the Riviera. And nobody knows what happened, but suddenly he picks up the paintbrush again and starts with his painting. And among those paintings is a picture of a woman who was mysterious to a lot of people for a long time. That's what this book is about. Who is she? What happened? And
Who was
then
she?
there's this parallel story. There's a woman named Ondine who is the granddaughter of Celine. Celine is the woman in the picture, the Picasso picture, and she's come back to find out what happened here. It's a little mysterious and wonderful, and you're in the south of France, which is really not bad. So talk about great armchair travel. That is called Cooking for Picasso, out in paperback. So, Chris, would you tell us, we wanted to bring back that tip about making instant cream from a little bit of heavy cream in a
Yeah, and some
container
sugar. Yeah,
so that
yeah.
you can make something just instantly for strawberries that we might be getting here on the farm or any of the other fruits they have.
Oh, yeah.
You take cold whipped cream, put it in a little canister or a little glass, big enough to hold it, and remember it's going to double in size when you froth it or whip it. And then you can either use an immersion blender, or if you have a cappuccino frother, those little ones that Faith and I got at IKEA. Yeah, and they're like, what, $7 at IKEA?
$7.
You put a couple batteries in
They
it.
were 99 cents.
A little bit more. Yeah, but you just take that and put it into the glass with the cream, and it whips it right up, and it's seconds. So you have instant whipped cream without having to use one of those fancy devices with a charger and all that.
And you can decide, because this is 1 or 2 servings,
Yep.
you can decide whether you want vanilla, extra vanilla, sugar, no sugar,
Yeah, honey,
whatever
maple
you'd like.
syrup. You can
And the
Maple
next
syrup.
morning,
There you go.
take it and add a
Chocolate.
dollop on your coffee.
sure
Yeah.
re-whip it in the
Throw it
morning.
away.
Yeah.
Okay,
Who doesn't
here's
love that?
here's what we're doing. In case you just dropped in for a quick bite of the food schmooze, we're at Whitegate Farm in East Lyme, Connecticut, and we thought it'd be fun to take our show on the road. We have great recipes we've just eaten that they've given us to share with you. If you're someone who likes an adventure, especially in the season where you want to just get in the car, and know that at the end of that journey, you're going to find 100 acres on a lake of gorgeous farmland in East Lyme, Connecticut, that someday this is going to be an inn. They're working on it right now, and I'm packing my moving truck.
I'm reserving my room.
This is organic. There is a farm stand where you can buy the food made or the vegetables themselves. It's absolutely extraordinary. So we're going to come back to Pauline Lord, who is owner of this farm. How did you end up, after growing up in New Haven, then going out to California, how did you end up leading this farm life?
One of the things that I did in California was I ran a conservation group, and we were always involved in land battles. And there would be, dark, dark nights thinking we were going to lose this one. And I would think, well, if I can't save this 68 acres, there is 100 acres in Connecticut. And I can try to save those.
Because this was your mother's.
This was my mother's farm. So when David took his early out from the U.S. Geological Survey, we cast about for the next great thing. And with a lot of wacky ideas about moving to Paraguay and raising coffee, we eventually tried this place. Because she said, hello, I'm your mother, I have a farm. And that's how we came here.
So inch by inch by inch, or were all these beautiful plantings here?
It's really been inch by inch. And we started with one field, and we built one greenhouse, and we eventually got the chickens, and somebody had the crazy idea of getting alpacas. That was a bad idea. In case anybody wants to know, I'm happy to talk with you.
Why is
Does
that?
they spit or something?
They smell.
You know, you really need to focus on alpacas. This was a side thing for us, but I had to take them to the Big E to show them, which was a combination of humiliation and boredom. So
Oh boy.
it was bad.
So this is like the narcissist of the animal world. At some point.
Seriously, we sold them before the market crash, which was good because nothing will lose its value faster than an alpaca.
Really?
Bad investment. Bad investment.
Sorry.
Good to know.
It's so funny. Oh my God, I love this woman.
Hold on. I gotta change my 401k right now.
Alpaca futures, goodbye. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk on the other side of this break that's coming up about how you start a farm like this that grows into what this has grown into. It is so, so beautiful here at the farm. And we're also going to talk about what we ate and share with you the recipes and show you what you can do with these organic vegetables and desserts. And they were, there's a chocolate thing. And I had a mandarin cake, wasn't it? It was so phenomenal, Pauline. Really amazing, amazing. We're going to talk with Kent Gertie, who walks every square inch of this land as the farm manager, all of that. And we have a special wine to tell you about, a new release of a rosé. And it happens to be from a winemaker we absolutely love. So stay with us for that. We'll be right back with more of the Faith Middleton Food Schmooze.
We can take a tractor down the road, go walking around the bend, lay by the river, climb up in the barn. Welcome to the farm. Yeah, yeah. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread. Beans and cornbread had a fight. Beans knocked cornbread out of sight. Cornbread said, now that's all right. Meet me on the corner tomorrow night. I'll be ready. I'll be ready tomorrow night. I'll be ready. I'll be ready tomorrow night. I'll be ready. I'll be ready tomorrow night. That's what Beans said to cornbread.
I'm Faith Middleton with the gang here at Whitegate Farm in East Lyme, Connecticut, where we have taken the Food Schmooze on the road. We're sitting on 100 acres. There's a lake, and there are foxes that come here. There is a bobcat that not during the day, people, so not to be afraid. So, Pauline, would you tell me the story? I love your husband's wall that he rebuilt on the edge of your property. It's a classic New England wall. And there was some mention of it in the old days in New England being called a whiskey wall.
The idea of the whiskey wall was landowners would hire a bunch of guys who seemed to be excessively motivated by whiskey and would say, here's the jug, and put it at the end point, the destination of this wall, and say, if you can build down to that wall, that jug is yours.
Oh, yeah.
Mark and I are in. Where's the wall? I'll get the rocks. You
Is
pile
it
them
bourbon?
up.
I
No,
got it.
this is it's such a coincidence, because we do that at the end of the Food Schmooze. We say, if you can make it through this hour,
There's a
that
bottle of
bottle
whiskey.
of bourbon.
That bottle of bourbon is
Well,
yours.
then that's perfect.
No, I mean, it really is a fascinating story. Your husband was also telling me that so many of the walls were originally built by slaves.
That's right.
Yeah. So in New England.
That's part of our history.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. David is so excited that you were focusing on his walls, because
They
that's
are
his
gorgeous.
big passion. We have about a whole mile of stone walls here on the farm.
Anybody who's farmed in New England knows that that's our number one crop, or stones.
The stones, yeah.
They just
no
keep
matter
coming
where
up, right?
They keep coming up. We plow through it, and
Every
bang,
year
the
there's
tractor
more.
gets hooked up on something. And sometimes you start digging the top, which looks like a tiny bit, and it's a lot like the glaciers. And as you go down, it gets bigger and bigger, and you end up coming up with something the size of the sofa you're sitting in.
And it's
It
a
has
beautiful
happened.
gray granite, right? It's a Connecticut
all
granite.
granite.
Wow.
Yes. Plays havoc with the machines. Anyway.
Can we also thank, as we start talking about this food, the people who cook here at this farm?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's Paco Rodriguez and Leslie Moore. And
Yeah.
they cooked all of our food for us. They do all the cooking for the farm stand for all these
Delicious.
products.
Awesome job.
That are sold here.
Delicious. And so nice.
So you're going to find at our website, foodschmooze.org. You know Schmooze, S-C-H like school, M-O-O like the cow, very appropriate here, Z-E. We're on Upper Patagoncet Road in East Lyme. Take a drive and come see this place. So we're going to talk to you, and these are the recipes we have on the site, about a Fennel Vichyssoise, a zucchini and carrot ribbon tart with ricotta, Kale and Orange Cupcakes with an orange icing, Chocolate-Zucchini Cupcakes with chocolate cream frosting, a gluten-free clementine cakelet, which was my personal favorite. I just flipped out over that. I didn't get to taste the chocolate thing that you all
The
tasted.
flourless chocolate.
The Swiss chard tort
The Swiss chard
with
tart was
chocolate
amazing.
ganache on top. That's a wonderful, wonderful cake. It has a huge amount of premium dark cocoa in every bite. And it's super dense, and it's just a wonderful thing.
And it's amazing how the Swiss chard just, you can taste it in
Yes.
there, but it works so
It
well.
adds moisture, but also Swiss chard has a bit of an earthy quality to it, and so does the cocoa. So the two of them married together beautifully and brings through that
Yeah.
smooth creaminess.
It really was nice.
Big
That was-
yummy.
I'm glad you like it. It's
That
one of
was
my
really
favorite.
yummy.
It's a big hit at the farm.
That's 3 yummies, Chris, I think.
Yeah,
on that
3
one.
yummies
3
on
yummies
that.
on that.
Okay, so let's start with the fennel vichyssoise. So we have fennel and potato soup, essentially, with some, it looked like diced scallions sitting on the top. Really delicious.
Crisp
We've got that
yeah.
recipe. This is all organic. Everything that they're doing here at the farm is organic.
Yes, it is indeed. And it's just a great soup for hot weather. Nice and cold
Refreshing.
with fresh herbs on top.
Pauline, why did you do all this organic, which is one of the harder things to do? So that's the first question. And the second question is, how does this connect with your sense of caring for the land here?
There were so many reasons to do organic because you're protecting the aquifer, the water supply, the wildlife, just everything. And you start dealing with pesticides and herbicides, then it's just a slippery slope. So since I lived in California for such a long time, of course I was bitten by the organic thing, and it just seemed the obvious thing to do.
I have to say also, Pauline and her husband are very brave because Connecticut is known to be the second most expensive place to farm in the country.
Yes.
And so you guys, kudos.
Well, that's because of the cost of land.
Right.
So since
Yeah.
the land was very inexpensive for me, it seemed like the thing to do.
Inheriting it.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there was your start right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we're going to make it easier for you when we move in.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much easier.
I look forward to
Schmoozing
that.
residents.
It'll be perfect.
I love it.
So now our next recipe, we had these zucchini and carrot ribbon tarts with ricotta. For those who think, oh, I'm going to miss meat, I don't want to be vegetarian, then there are others who say, well, maybe one day of the week I'll try and go a little bit more vegetable-centric. This was delicious.
Oh, yeah.
This is like being in
was
the
so
in the
good.
countryside of Italy to have this thing.
And it was so beautiful to look at, too, because of the way the ribbons were swirling around the top of the tart.
Yeah, look at
It
the
was
picture
so
right
decorative.
now.
Delicate
Foodschmooze.org.
pastry underneath.
And so tasty. You tasted every bit of it. Even the ricotta, so velvety and sweet. It was,
And when you start with vegetables that just come out of the ground, you don't need anything to go with it.
Thank you for
You don't
mentioning
need
that, Chris.
salt. You don't
Yeah.
need anything. There's a huge difference in going out to the garden,
Yes.
grabbing something and cooking it, than there is going to a store and getting something that's been refrigerated, that came on a truck for hundreds of miles. And food breaks down. And there's something about the sense of place, too, when you're cooking.
The soil
no-
is still
Yeah.
rich. There's minerals left in the soil.
But it's also like that memory of going to the farm stand and grabbing it and then bringing it home and cooking it. That
It was like eating
it's
a
just-
still life,
yeah,
looking
it's-
at this
it's
platter.
magic.
Everything you enjoyed here came from the farm. There was something
Yeah.
in it. A lot of it came from the farm, was
Yeah.
harvested this morning
Yeah.
or late last night to be baked
Yeah.
into these wonderful things. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's real
Delicious.
food
Taste the
that
difference.
tastes like food that is important.
When
It's
I
gone
came
these
in,
days.
the celery sitting on the table, I snapped a piece
Yeah.
when you weren't looking, and I started
Excellent.
chewing on it. And celery has a flavor that we almost forget because
Right.
of
Yeah.
the stuff we get in the supermarket. The celery you grow here just has that flavor that I remember celery having when I was a kid.
As you walk through the fields here, because it is organic, you can reach down and just grab something and enjoy it. And indeed we did.
There's nothing
Chris
to
saw-
wash off.
Exactly. Chris saw something he wanted to try
Peppers.
and said, let's try that pepper.
Wow.
So we reached down, we snapped off a pepper and
Wiped it
just wiped it off, and we all enjoyed it right there.
Hey, listen, we have nothing against supermarkets and small grocery stores.
No.
We need them, so we know that. But I'm going to say this. I'm a big farm preservation person, as everybody on the show is. When you get something that has just been picked from a farm and you go to a farm stand no matter where you are, and then you come home and you cook that thing to get at what Chris is talking about with freshly picked food, these vegetables, you can taste the subtlety of each thing and how they go together.
Yeah.
Like sliced
That's
beets.
right.
We're eating sliced
Yeah,
beets. Nothing
I've
to
never
'em.
eaten raw beets
Right?
before, and they were absolutely
And the
delicious.
carrots are like candy.
What's that puree of the hummus?
Oh, we had the beet hummus and the spicy carrot hummus. Yeah,
Both
with,
delicious.
With crudité.
And the
with-
color look.
with the raw vegetables.
Yeah.
Well, it's important to note too that they're roasted off, so they're all
Yeah.
caramelized. The edges of the beets
Sugary.
are caramelized. It brings out the sugar and the smokiness, and the carrots especially have a really nice caramelization effect.
So there's no reason why we can't do this at home, right, Chris?
Oh, not at all.
So you go to a farm stand, you
Gets
get the
a bunch
freshest
of carrots, or a
vegetables.
bunch of beets, roast them, and take your regular hummus recipe, and instead of putting chickpeas in it, just use your roasted vegetables.
Well, we do chickpeas as well.
Oh, you do chickpeas as well? Yeah, see, you can, or you don't have to. You
Yeah.
can just make it all vegetables.
What do you grow here? We walk through so
Yeah.
much.
We
I mean,
grow 53 different crops here. And
Oh my
some of
gosh.
those have multiple varieties, like tomatoes or potatoes.
We walked by the tomatoes, they're
Yeah.
almost ready.
Yes, they're the size of my fist. They're
Almost
gorgeous.
ready.
They're perfect. They're flawless, and they're all green.
Yeah, but they're coming. They're coming.
Yeah,
I
I know.
can see they're
yeah,
coming.
they're late
Excellent.
this year.
They are indeed. It's painful because everybody asks, "Where are the tomatoes?"
Yeah.
Well, we don't have
Soon,
them yet.
soon.
And
What
they-
about corn?
You know, we tried to grow corn for years. That is impossible to do organically. And I mean, we tolerate,
Raccoons eat them.
well, that's for
Everything.
sure.
Everything eats it.
everything?
But those disgusting earworms,
Yeah.
those corn worms, I mean, we just couldn't deal with those. And we tolerate
And no
some
one wants them
bugs.
if they have bugs, right?
No,
No.
those were just gross.
Is your farm stand open year round? Because you get into selling turkeys.
We are open 2 days a week,
Chickens.
Wednesdays and Saturdays until Christmas. And then we're closed until sometime in April.
We just want you to get us through Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really what we're
we're
interested in.
busy.
And you're
through
doing
Thanksgiving.
pumpkins too?
We have lots of food that continues, lots of produce that continues right through the holidays, and we are absolutely full of stuff piled high
Oh,
in the
yeah.
shop.
Potatoes and
Potatoes
squash.
and winter squashes. And
Beets and
greens, and then some
carrots.
of the spring greens come back to finish the
Yeah,
season.
the
You start with the
spinach.
greens, and then you miss the greens because you're in the season, and then you go back to the other greens.
Some of the vegetables, as the ground gets colder and the air gets colder, they start to caramelize in the ground. And so they become sweeter. It turns out to be one of the best times to get things, the late crops, when there's a chill in the air, right?
Yes,
Pauline?
well, that's why we like to wait until after a couple of frosts to harvest the Brussels sprouts.
Oh,
say.
sure. Starts
Is
turning
they
to
get
sugar.
way
Yeah.
sweeter.
I'm looking out at this vista. I can only imagine in October what this place looks
Oh,
like.
like the
It's
hills are on
nice.
fire, right?
It's pretty.
Colors.
So, what about this life for you, Pauline? I can't imagine you ever thought you'd be doing this. About to run an inn, and you know we're seeing the start of progress here toward that. You already have rooms, or people can rent the farmhouse. But here you are, being a farm owner. What do you like about this life?
It's just endlessly interesting. There's always stuff going on. There are always problems and challenges. It's really fun. I love the farm stand. We have so many loyal customers who I think are drawn not just to the good food, but to the community aspect of the place. We know them. And I think in this day and age, I mean, there's a lot of alienation out there. I mean, I think that's partly why the food schmooze is so darn popular, because you are all so warm and you create community. And we, on a very small scale, try to create
Sure you
community.
do.
Yeah. I'd like to add to that. I mean, people come to our stand also because they go to a place where somebody knows their name. Pauline knows the name of just about every single person that comes into our stand because they've been customers for years, and then they bring new customers by word of mouth.
So you see them each new year?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Years
absolutely.
past. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Do
Absolutely.
kids come?
Oh, the children love coming to the farm because they can walk around. We encourage them to walk around. We encourage people to take their dogs along, on a leash, of course. and walk down to the lake, go see the beehives. We have 5 beehives in the back, and then go see the chickens. And we encourage them to take the carrot green tops and feed them to the young, gorgeous 6-month-old laying hens with a little warning: just mind your fingers, because they do feed enthusiastically. You don't want to lose a tip of a finger to a chicken.
What do the kids say the darndest things?
Oh, they do. Well, they do. I mean, Pauline touched on community here, and we have a lot of school groups who come through. And I think we've had several hundred students already this season. And we take them through a tour depending on their age. And this one particular group came through. I think they were 4th or 5th graders. And we showed them, I brought them in, and they were all hyperactive and fun. And we showed them the tractors. We started with the tractors, and then we walked to the greenhouse. And this young girl kept saying, "But where's the animals?" We went to the greenhouse, and we're talking spinach. And, yeah. Where's the animals? We walked to the other place, and once again, and finally there was this moment of quiet where I could actually address her. I looked at her, and she said one more time, "Where's the animals?" And I said, "They're all in the freezer." And the parents had this look on their face. They laughed out loud. This guffaw went across. And the children, silence, absolute silence. And the young girl who asked me this question, her eyes are bugging out. And there's a look on her face, and she doesn't know what quite to say, because is he serious? Could it be? She leans forward, and she said, "You're so mean." And everybody's laughing so hard, and all the kids don't know what to make of it. And I said, "Well, yeah, but you eat burgers occasionally, and you like chicken occasionally." "Well, yeah, I love it." And then again, silence, and you see their minds ticking along, saying, indeed, there's a certain amount of violence that goes along with eating meat. And they need to understand that at a young age. But it was quite funny to see that.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
It's where our food comes from.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important that people see that.
Yeah.
Chris, how do you think of it as a chef?
As far
I mean,
as the
you're an
food?
animal lover, and
gosh,
at the same time, you're raising pigs for slaughter.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, this is part of our food system, right? And I think we've become disconnected from where our food comes from, not just the animals, the vegetables too. I mean, that's why it's important to come to a farm and a farm stand and really get that attachment back of where our food is coming from and how it's raised, and then all our food gets better, right? If we understand where it's coming from, and then you pay attention to that, then you're going to be more focused on asking, even in the supermarkets like before we used to, like, where does that come from?
I can say that in all these years of going to farms in our region and in other regions, maybe in different parts of the country too, honestly, I have never met a farmer who didn't exude respect for the process, the land, the relationships, the farm hands, just remarkable respect. It's a beautiful life you have.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you for welcoming us to this.
So much my pleasure.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a rosé. Now, we've mentioned this winemaker on the show before, but this is a new vintage, and every year vintages are different. It's not like Budweiser beer, where you get hired as a beer maker there. They have zillions of them, so that it tastes exactly like it tasted. This is different. Wine is different from year to year, even from the same maker, and that's true for vegetables and oysters. And
Grapes.
One oyster 10 inches from another one will taste different. So it's always exciting to see what happens in the bottle, in the glass, on the plate. All right, we're going to take a short break, and then more food schmooze at Whitegate Farm in East Lyme, Connecticut. And don't forget, a great wine discovery coming your way. We'll be right back.
I'm gonna keep well my vegetables, cart off and sell my vegetables by. Love you most of all, my favorite vegetable. If I could bottle this up, bottle this up, I would bottle this up, bottle this up, I would. 'Cause you're gorgeous in this moment. If I could bottle this up, I would.
I'm Faith Middleton, and I'm with the gang. Thank you for listening to the Food Schmooze on the road for this edition. We're having the best time. We are at Whitegate Farm in East Lyme, Connecticut. You can come here too, because there is a phenomenal farm stand. They prepare the food for you, or you can take home all those vegetables. There's 100 acres on a lake in East Lyme, an incredible destination, gracious place. They're working, as I mentioned, on this becoming an inn also. amazing food. They have cooking classes here. They have tours for children. You can roam all over this farm. But I also want to say that when we go on the road, we assemble quite a crew. And so a special thanks to the greats and also the unflappable Joe Koss and Kevin Kuhl. Thank you so much for setting all this up here in the living room of the farmhouse. It's really terrific. Of course, I'm with my food buddies, Chris Prosperi of Metro Beast Restaurant in Simsbury, Connecticut, wine broker Mark Raymond, wine broker Alex Province, Pauline Lord, who is owner of this farm, senior producer Robin Doyen-Aiken, and Kent Gertie, who is the farm manager. We're all here at the farm having a great time. Can we turn to this wine, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Alex, this is a discovery of yours. It was last time. This is the new vintage. If you're starting to get into drinking the dry rosés that are so pink, so beautiful, we have one that is from the south of France, the Côte d'Aron. And Alex, tell us about this. It's called, if you go to the website, you'll see a picture of the label, Domaine Le Clos de Lumieres.
If you see a wine map of France, there's a city, Avignon, in the south, and this is just west of that. And it's grown in like a chalky, sandy soil that the particles have been sort of polished until they're so small through erosion that the vine's actually able to pick up these little bits of mineral. So in the wine, you're tasting mineral. And it's in so far south in France that they have the Mistral winds that come, and similar to what you guys are doing, the winds keep the vines really healthy. So it keeps pests away, keeps fungus and molds. So the vines are actually cleaned by these really strong winds. And
let me just try this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And it's so sunny down there, so that it's like a really beautiful place. But when you try it, it's French. So the French ferment out every bit of sugar. So when you taste it, it's almost savory. To me, I taste strawberries and some spice and fruit, but it's almost savory. Like it's almost
and a little
like
acidity, right?
You have to have that bright acidity.
Yeah.
And I would have this, just with...
That's what I'm thinking, Alex. This goes with, Mark, do you feel that way? This goes with everything.
Speaking to the herbs and spices, it almost has that sort of herbs de Provence.
Like lavender?
in the background, just kind of talking to you as it's going down.
And
Delicious.
I always say soup is one of the hardest things to pair with. And the Vichyssoise with the potatoes and fennel and this wine were a perfect marriage. Right?
Really
and
good.
I don't know if it was the fennel or just the fresh potatoes or something in that soup really worked well with this wine.
And is this one of the, what we would call the handmade wines, where they're not putting, there are, what did the man tell us, more than 1,000 additives?
Yes, over 1,000.
That they can put into wine, the junk. Maybe a few of the things are not harmful, in terms of,
fish
say,
bladders and copper metal and all
people
these
who think they're
weird
vegetarians
things.
are actually drinking meat in the wine sometimes. So these are wines that aren't made well, and so. But when you have a handmade wine like this, we tend toward those on the show. So
Always, right?
Yeah, always. So what is this bottle, Alex?
So this costs $14.
Great price.
Which is, I always say rosés are some of the best values on the market because from, $10 to $20, a wine store will have such a beautiful selection of rosés. The thing is you want to get them fresh. So we want to get them the season that we're in. So these are all the 2016s.
So just go to our site to see a picture of the label. We always say it's best to call ahead to your wine store. They're small. They can't stock everything, even the large ones. So if it's not on the shelf, a lot of the stores now have our shelf talker.
Yes, the Food Schmooze shelf talker.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
And so you can, if you're walking through, you'll see that flapping.
Yeah.
But also, if
Recommended
they don't,
by.
some people are making up their own signs, recommended by the Food Schmooze. But call ahead and read them the label. Don't be afraid if you can't pronounce the French name, the Spanish name, the Italian name. Just spell it for them. They're used to that. We struggle with them too.
I just take my phone and hand them the picture from the website. I'd like to
You
get
show 'em
some
a
of
picture of
this.
the label when you're in the
I'd
store?
like some of this.
So at the website, we tell you exactly what to say.
And they're
so go to
farmers.
foodschmooze.org.
And they're farmers, so people who are making wine, just, like what you guys are doing. They're small, third generation, proud people that make, instead of growing, tomatoes, or growing grapes. And so it's the same, you want to look for the same things in these small producers as you would in who's growing your food. You want people that are respectful of the land, that are producing stuff that you actually want to put in your body. So wine is food.
I love that you say that wine is food.
It's just, it's grapes. It's fermented grapes. So it's coming from a field grown in a vineyard, and they're taking it carefully and pressing it, and the little microbes are turning it into alcohol, and then they put it in a bottle. So you don't want junk in it. So if you're going to drink wine, drink stuff that's pure that you want to put in your body.
And you can get pure wine for $9 and $10 a bottle.
Just as easily as you can bad wine.
And from various countries. And is that true in the United States?
Sure. Yeah. And a good wine shop, if you walk into a good wine shop, they are fussy. A good wine shop will be fussy of what wines they carry. I always say, tell them what price you want to spend on a bottle of wine. Don't be embarrassed. Say, because a good wine shop will have a $10 bottle that's wholesomely made, that's delicious.
How would you put that?
I would say just that. Hey, I want a small producer producing wine that's well made, that doesn't have junk in it, and I want to spend $10.
I want it to be wholesome.
Yeah, and they know. A savvy wine shop gets it. A lot of the mass-produced wines, people buy them, and that's fine. If that's what you like, that's fine. But sometimes the wines with the ugly labels and the hard-to-pronounce names from countries that specialize in wines, including California and Oregon and Washington State.
Yep.
So you can find in South America, Spain and Portugal.
But how does it work that this rosé that I'm trying right now can work with a delicate piece of flounder and also could work with a really fatty ribeye?
Partly because it's French. The French see wine as a condiment to food. So they like to eat, and then they have a bottle of wine with their meal. And so they want the food to shine. And then as you're eating, the wine, you take a sip, and it complements.
The wine is better and the food is better when they're paired together. That's a good one.
I think the other point, too, is that this rosé is made from red grapes. I mean, hardy red grapes.
Syrah,
when you think of Syrah and Grenache and Mourvedre, those are big, bold, red-style wines.
With some tannins.
And some of that carries through. Even though you're not getting that skin contact, you still get a little bit of weight.
Aren't they getting a little bit of skin contact to give the wine that pink color?
That's the color.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're saying rose with some fuchsia.
Yeah. So foodschmooze.org. If you're just joining us, I don't mean to repeat myself. It's just we know people are piling into the show every 5 minutes. And we thank you for doing that. We're glad to have you at the table. We decided to take the show on the road. We'd like to do that every once in a while. And we are at Whitegate Farm on Upper Patagonia Road in East Lyme, Connecticut. You can come here too. Thank you, Karen Tomasco, for pointing this out to us. It is 100 acres. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we're sitting in the living room of the farmhouse with Pauline Lord, who is the owner of the farm, and other staff members, and we just can't thank them enough. So, Pauline, I know your mother lived till, how many years ago? Did you say 2?
She died 2.5 years ago.
2.5.
Yeah.
How much did she get to see of what became of her farm?
She saw quite a lot of it. There was kind of a big decision for us to move from California and live on the same driveway as my mother. We lived in the barn for the first 7 years, but she was totally great. And early on, she said to me, could we just get one thing straight? And I said, well, what's that? And she said, could we agree not to eat dinner together every night? I said, Ma, I love you. So she was just great. I mean, we could be on the same property, but not in each other's face all the time, which was perfect. And she loved having all the commotion. I mean, some Saturday evening she'd say, who were all those people on the driveway? Oh, yeah, our customers, Ma.
Oh, wow.
Good stuff. I love it.
Was she excited? Why did she come here?
She loved this land. She saw this place during a recession, and the house and farm had been on the market for 3 years. It was sort of languishing. And as soon as she saw this piece of land, she knew this was the place. She didn't even go in the house before she knew.
Did she use it as a farm, or was it more of a residence?
Her caretaker was growing some vegetables for her, but this was just where she lived. She actually lived and worked in New Haven.
Yeah.
And when she got to be really old, I tried hard to get her to consolidate, but no. So anyway,
what does that mean?
Well, to live in one place instead of two,
see.
a mere 45 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So she wasn't very practical, but she was marvelous.
Yeah, the stories that you tell about her, I thought, oh my goodness, I love her.
Yeah, she was a character.
Yeah.
And very busy in New Haven, founding the Long Wharf Theater and doing a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, she was one of the 3 founders of Long Wharf.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
How phenomenal.
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
and worked at the Child Study Center. She was busy.
It's like my
she did a
favorite
lot.
place at Yale. I love that. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful person.
She was,
And you're
yeah.
carrying on.
In my way.
You are in your
beautiful
big way.
way.
Very beautiful. So why the inn? An inn is quite an adventure. I stay in them sometimes. I think they're so charming, and this is going to be something, you know, when this or if this goes through all the way. But why in your heart do you want to do that?
Well, we have this giant house right smack in the middle of the farm. And it seemed a shame to just let it rot. And, you know, as my mother was aging, I thought it was the logical thing to do. And yes, it's quite an undertaking. Just the permitting is striking business.
Yeah, but really every room seems to have this window out with this
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
Everywhere you look.
view.
Yeah.
Oh my! I feel
Everywhere
like,
you look.
360 degrees.
you know.
Yeah.
Do you feel this, Pauline? Because you spent so much time. I feel like I'm in California. Weirdly enough, you know, and somewhere in Napa.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Can
I
you
do.
get that?
Well, yeah, I was very influenced by California. And thank you. That's a nice compliment. So, yes, well, I just thought it seemed the logical thing to do. So we're moving forward on it, and I think
very
it's going to be
exciting.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm very
I can't
drawn
wait to stay.
Good.
I'm bringing my wife back.
I'm glad.
What do you think?
I like the idea of agritourism.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to stay at a place where people are working on the farm and you
And
can
the
learn
food is
about
there.
it. And the food is here.
Will you have like canning classes
We
or
do.
different events?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
And you're going to have host dinners at the farm. This is something that Jonathan Rapp and company do. And they're going to be 5 nights here, and that is August 9th through 13th. And so this is at our website, foodschmooze.org, if you want to sign up for it. Can you describe what that's like with the tables lined up in the field?
It's a huge locavore event with a giant tent, long tables, multi-courses. Kent, what do you want to chime in
It's
on?
one of my favorite things we do at the farm. Again, we want to talk about community, but this is really the event of the season. It's a giant pole tent with at least 2 or maybe even 3 poles in the center, and tables set up family style, several, maybe 100 feet long.
Awesome.
And a lot of people buy seats together in groupings so they can be
Sure.
there with their friends, and those are always the rowdy ones. And then you have other people who are sitting next to somebody who they've just met, and there's some great conversations that come from that. There's hors d'oeuvres going around on platters ahead of the meal. There's a drink tent that features some drink that's the featured drink of the evening.
Is it all lantern light?
It is. It
Awesome.
starts out while
Yeah.
it's sort of late afternoon, so
So
the
the
sun is
sun
still in the
sets.
sky. We do a
Oh.
quick tour, and then everybody tucks into a nice hors d'oeuvre on a tray, and multiple trays go around. And then it's probably 3 to 5 courses, depending on which night you arrive.
I think it's usually 6 courses.
6, sorry. Okay, there you go.
Don't want anybody to worry. There's plenty of food.
Right. There is indeed, and there's multiple
We can
wines
testify
to be
to that.
enjoyed too.
Isn't that great?
I feel like you need a tent.
Indeed.
Stay the night.
And
Yeah.
what happens if it rains?
We don't want to talk about that.
Well, it has happened, and they have sides for the tent, and it's different for
Cozy.
sure, but it's very cozy,
Yeah.
and it's kind of cool in its own
Yeah.
way. It's just different.
Yeah, I've actually been at one of those. I was just trying to set you up to say that they still happen.
Oh yes.
And they're
And it's
cozier.
still the
I'd say.
lantern
Yeah,
Like
light.
fog blowing
It's
through
adorable.
and
It's very cozy.
magical.
Yeah.
Right.
So the chocolate zucchini cupcakes with chocolate cream frosting. Someone.
Oh, they're so good.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
I think Robin and I said we were going to split one.
And then you split another one.
You said you were going to split
Split
2.
one, yeah, split one and then split another one.
That's a whole one each, but nice.
But who's
No,
counting?
wait a
Who's
minute.
counting?
What
Come on.
happened to the kale and the orange cupcakes?
I want to take
with
that.
orange
my
I want to
icing?
take that one
Who would
because
think kale inside a cupcake?
Yep.
out of all that, my favorite, yeah,
Me
was
too.
the orange and the kale.
But
The
believe me,
lemon.
this is dessert. We're not talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
something that
No.
tastes like a log.
No.
You know,
I
in the
could-
old
no, no.
days.
I could have eaten 2 of those. It's just you just kept
I
wanting
did.
to eat more.
Moist and juicy, and
then-
the citrus, the
Well, my-
glaze on top.
Compliments to our kitchen here and our kitchen staff, because they're able to marry the things we have in the field into these great baked goods and these seasonally fresh things. So we're seasonally inspired, baked
Yeah.
goods, and that really
done.
does. Yeah,
Well done.
It really is nice.
So delicious.
What's the web? I know. Let's do that.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Really, just such a pleasure. Thank you for running the farm the way you do, and to your staff in the kitchen.
Really
Just
appreciate
love all of you so much. Thank you. And I love you all so much, as
Oh,
you
we
know,
love
Chris
you
Buff
too.
Berry and
You
Mark
know
Raymond
that.
and Alex Province and Robin and the guys, Karen. Okay, off we go to more exciting programming here on Public Radio. And don't forget our slogan, never eat more than you can lift. At the farm, at Whitegate Farm in East Lyme, Connecticut, I'm Faith Middleton.
Everybody eats when they come to mind.
Thanks for listening to the podcast on your schedule. And when you need a little party in your life, we're here and online all the time at foodschmooze.org. And of course, also on Facebook at Faith Middleton Food Schmooze.